There are so many people working daily to become the highest or the better version of themselves, and I am one of those people, right? But when I say these things to myself and I set it as a goal for something to prioritize, I really dig deep to see how can I become a better version of myself. And I'm so proud of myself because of the growth and the development. I remember just years ago when I think about becoming a better version of myself, it would be like a lot of self-care, going to just cater to yourself and doing different things to have quiet time, which is definitely a necessity. But I think we need to go deeper to become better versions of ourselves. Um, First of all, starting with the renewal of our minds. Like, can you imagine the things that we compute in our minds on a daily basis, and we continue to keep going and not dealing with the baggage or the overload in one day, but yet we get up and we try to use the same mind to deal with, the things of the next day. It's almost like you're carrying around baggage, or the load is just too much, the capacity is too much to carry, and trying to go in and have a clean slate to start a new day. And so you have to release that thing. If you putting garbage in your trash can every day, you can't continue to put garbage on top of garbage or garbage on top of garbage and not empty the trash, right? You got to make room for new garbage. So one thing that came to mind that I wanted to share with you is our internal battles. Internal battles are just the conflicts and the struggles within our emotions and our mindset. And I see that eternal battles, that they can really, really become a struggle. They can really, really become a battle if we do not renew our minds. And for me, my way of renewing my mind is doing a self reflection test on myself, getting into God's word, reading God's word, meditating on it, and then asking myself after I read it, like, Tamika, what did you get out of reading that word? What does that mean to you? And when I do it that way, I feel hiding. And, I feel like I can release some things that I've been carrying. And so it's important to definitely renew your minds on a daily basis. But back to these internal battles, okay? So when we don't renew our minds and we don't release ourselves of yesterday's baggage or last year's baggage or our childhood baggage, what happens is there's a discrepancy that's taking place in your mind, and it causes controversials. It is battles, it's quarrels that's going on, right? And I think what happens is it has a way of clouding our potential or our abilities, and I think it undermined our quality, that we don't see the good anymore, or there's a lot of self-doubt, there's a lot of fear, and things of that nature that we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and we have no idea where it comes from, but it's from the grind that we haven't released over the course of our lives. And I get it that a lot of us are busy, we have different tasks and different roles, right? So by the end of the day, all you want to do is, eat, get your bath, and get to bed and start over. But prioritize renewing your mind, because it can literally just like alter the mindset into believing falsehood. And that's detrimental. That's a dangerous place to be in. My analogy for that, imagine a tree. This is a weird analogy, but imagine a tree. Or no, imagine a human being as a tree. Uh, a tree that's covered in hard bark, warped around with poison ivy. A tree, that's the nature, that's the essence of a tree. So I don't think that the poison ivy would affect the tree. I don't think that the bark affects the tree. I think when a tree is under distress, is probably from seasons of different types of weather, that causes the bark to fall off. Or, when it's too hot, it causes the bark to fall off, or it causes the leaves to wither or to become sun scorched, and then they fall off prematurely. And I think it's the same thing with us as human beings. We fall off prematurely because we don't renew ourselves, or if we don't receive the proper nourishment that we need on a daily basis to be renewed, or to be restored, or to be resuscitated. And so what happens is if I, when I try to envision myself as this tree wrapped in poison ivy, I'm taken out, like, because I'm having a breakdown. I'm uneasy. I'm uncomfortable, and all of these things. And so that's not our nature. So we can't be a tree that's covered in bark or poison ivy that will, it's making me itch even thinking about it, or something that will cause blisters or itching or shortage of breath and all of those things, just as a tree is not built to be a human being. And so I believe that just thinking about that analogy, uh knowing that the mindset is one of the greatest assets that we possess, because the mind controls, the attitude of the mind controls our decision making, how we think, how we feel, how we see things, the perspective of things. And so it's important to renew the mind. And not only that, I'm a huge advocate of um, knowing why you exist. I'm a huge advocate of knowing your identity. And if we have a cloudy vision, if our vision is cloudy, if our qualities, it's hard to see the qualities because there's so much self-doubt, there's so much hate, there's so much anger, there's so much envy, and all of these things that are rooted and grounded in us from over a course of time, then how do we expect to function properly? So I just wanted to drop this video just to give you a little encouragement and to remind you to deal with your internal battles, and know that by the renewing of your mind, for me, like I said, it could be winding down, getting quiet time. It could be reading God's word and his principles that encourage us, that empower us. It could be reading a book. It could be seeing a counselor or a therapist, anything of that nature. And we may not have the time to do each of those things every day. So find something that's easy, that will fit into your schedule, that will fit into your day, to prioritize renewing your mind and dealing with your internal battles.